Welcome back to Sneak and Show's coverage of the Good Games 2014 Team Nationals for Australia. I'm Sam Loy, and I'm joined by...
Russell Cutting.
And we're actually going right into the finals now.
Yeah, all the way through.
All the way through, and we have a couple of fantastic teams who have obviously done quite well today. We have Team Victory, named after, apparently, team captain Alex Victory, also with Nathan something that I can never pronounce,
Where is
and Justin Eagle.
Where is this thing we can't pronounce?
This one right here.
Demilarans, I believe.
Demilarans?
Yeah,
All right,
we'll go with
there
that.
we go.
That's what we're going
And
with.
then we've got, team 2.5 men. I'm not sure who the half is. I've heard
Then we agreed
conjecture
on
that is
Fazzolari.
Robert Liu or James Fazzolari, but both of those guys are on the team. And they're joined by man of all men, Justin Chung.
Excellent.
So I think we're going to go straight down to coverage right now, and we'll see these guys pit against each other in some team-constructed action. All right. So we have Robert Liu on the right.
And on the left.
And I believe he's paired against Justin Eagle, but we'll just have a look at his deck to make sure. Alright, both players getting set to go in the final here. It's been a long day, so understandably these guys are a little bit tired. And tap lands for both players going into the second turn.
Does look like Justin Eagles. Justin Eagles deck, who's on the Abzan. Looks to be a little bit more aggressive. He does have a Rakshasha Death Dealer main and Brimaz King of Oresco, so...
Yeah, and he's leading off with a Thoughtseizes for his first play of the game. We actually saw Justin on camera a little bit earlier when you were stepping out of the booth, Russell, to play some nice gaming action down in the bar.
Yes. Well, that turned out well.
Alright, so taking the Banishing Light here with the Thoughtseize. And just a couple of passes back. Both of these decks tend to wait a little bit into the game until they start doing their action, and about turn 3 or 4 they start piling on the spells and piling on the powerful abilities. Really.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the Abzan deck, although it does have some aggressive elements, it does sort of set up with a lot of Thoughtseize and contain things like Elspeth, Hero's Downfall, Courser of Krupik, so it's more than happy to go to the mid to late game.
Yeah, exactly. And Thoughtseize again. We just had the team names lined up again. 2.5 men on the right, Team Victory on the left, and the second Thoughtseize. So a multiple Thoughtseize hand, much to the chagrin of many Commander players over the years.
Well, you'd think so, because you can only have one Thoughtseize in your Commander deck.
You'd be cheating.
Yeah, you would be cheating. Second Thoughtseize, taking away Jeskai Charm again. This definitely shows respect for the sort of burn aspect that Jeskai is well known for in the late game.
Absolutely. With those 2 fetch lands on board, it looks like our Team Victory player, Justin, will be going down to 14 quite shortly. So he's going to have to play around the fact that, the Jeskai deck is very good at doing damage.
Yeah. Just puts a couple of threats down, gets them down to a manageable life tool, and then Flurry of Burn spells at his end. Fetch lands, he could be holding them up in case he has a call through Krupix just to get some extra value from the life game.
Sure, that would be quite good. And, other cards as well as like Urborg can really give him extra flexibility there.
Yeah, with Urborg in the deck, you definitely don't need to crush the fetch lands until you absolutely have to.
So we see the end step Magma Jet allowing Rob Liu to have a look at the next 2 cards on his library and decide what he wants going down the line. And apparently it's not those 2.
Both at the bottom. I mean, he's been Thoughtseized twice, and he needs to re-sculpt the hand that he's lost.
Yeah, having that ability to actually give you some manipulation on the top of your library is really, really powerful in those sort of situations.
Yeah, I mean, Magma Jet as a reprint, fantastic. Scry 2 is so much better than Scry 1, although we do see the power of the Scry land, again, putting the card to the bottom, nothing too good on top.
Yeah, just the ability to dig through the library is really just one of the reasons that this deck has actually, it's been one of the format favorites since the Pro Tour, and it's actually stuck around quite a while.
Yeah, the popularity has dwindled, but here in the team event, we've definitely seen a few copies of this deck running around. Just the fact that it doesn't share any cards with the Abzan, the other really popular strategy, and can just put pressure on the game and attack the game from multiple angles. So. Really good choice of deck.
And yeah, we have seen Rob Liu do quite well with it on camera before. He's been our second feature match and primary feature match before, and he's obviously here in the finals and doing some damage for his team.
We've just seen Justin crack both his fetches, getting a plains and a forest. So this fixing his mana pretty much well. I assume he doesn't need a second black for anything. He's already used the Thoughtseize, so this sets him up really well to basically cast anything in his deck.
Absolutely. I think there's only Hero's Downfall was the only double black spell in this deck. So
And that Lalamal Waste takes care of that.
apparently you don't need that many black sources to cast a Siege Rhino.
Siege Rhino, a pretty good card, I'm told. Sort of that on the defense, 4/5 blocker with gain 3. On the offense, 4/5 trampler with lose 3 to your opponent. And here on an open board, it's definitely in the second, getting into that red zone, I'm sure, and soon.
Yeah, being able to just bounce those life totals around a bit in terms of what was a 1912 scoreline into a 1516. And against a burn deck, it's really important that you actually see that card.
Yeah, especially with the fetches and painlands making up most of the mana base.
The traditional curve of Wingmate Rock here, and we see Rob Blue looking forlornly at a nullified his hand without a second blue source to cast it.
That is pretty poor, although
has to
he does stoke the flames to get rid of that Wingmate Rock, which is a fair go.
Yeah, I mean, that card's going to get him life equal to the amount of attackers every turn, and getting off the board is really important if he wants to preserve the burn route to victory here.
Yeah, certainly problematic to have that sticking around. Temple of Malady put to the bottom again, showing Temple and Jeskai Charm to return the token, which of course removes it from the game, as it is not an actual card.
This isn't Hearthstone, ladies.
You
can get rid of that stuff.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Just get rid of it.
And Jeskai deck, sticking on 3 cards, looks like a Magma Jet. Nothing really to do with that Siege Rhino, which is going to crush in again. A lot of lands here for Justin, but that Siege Rhino is going to do a lot of work.
Yeah, if you can't ever deal with it, it's a real thing. And both those cards going to the bottom, I imagine he's really going for a blue source so he can dig through time or something like that. But
scoots him up. Siege Rhino, of course, being one of the reasons. The popularity of Siege Rhino seems to be directly proportional to the absence of an actual Jeskai deck.
Yeah, I mean the ability to cast Siege Rhino is just actually a huge advantage in this format, and it's actually just really just getting there.
Yeah, obviously Jeskai a popular and good choice for this team unified standard, as the whole entire team can't run Siege Rhino. Only a maximum of 4 Siege Rhino per team.
Yeah.
And just being paired to a non-Siege Rhino deck, the Jeskai is probably favoured. So definitely a good call here, but perhaps it's a bit ill-matched against this opponent.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not a done thing. It's probably the heavyweight of the format versus, Jeskai, which is waning in popularity, but it's,
one of the previous champions sitting around. It's very good for a certain meta game, but in a Siege Rhino heavy format, a little bit difficult.
Okay, so we're seeing Team Victory on the right in this one, and 2.5 men on the left. Team Victory on a Team Lord aggro deck, and 2.5 men on the Hornet Nest Red-Green Monsters deck.
Red-Green Monster, another popular choice again, because it doesn't share many cards, and
it's been doing quite well recently as well. And
definitely.
Magic players love recent results.
It tends to go for it. Hornet's Nest, one of my preferred cards. It's just pretty funny.
Very, very sweet. And,
it's pretty sweet.
We see, I believe, Chandra targeting the Rattleclaw Mystic on Team Victory's side of the board. Our pilots are James Fazzolari on the left there, and we have... it's Alex Victory with the Teamwar aggro deck on your right. And they're all packed up.
That was pretty quick.
Nice and easy. Alright, so we're going to sideboard here, and we see James bringing in some cards for the mirror, and welcome back to the booth.
Hello.
Samuel Loyne, this is Russell Gutting.
Yeah, I lost my shirt to Samuel Loyne in a dice game, so that's why.
A game of chance and skill, really.
Chance and skill. Unfortunately, skill came out on top, so I'm stuck with this. Wolfie is my commander shirt. And by stuck, I mean happily.
Thank you, because that shirt is excellent. And
yeah,
I did get it made myself.
So it looks like our match 1 is finished sideboarding and shuffling up. Looking at the sideboards, for the Abzan aggro deck, we've got highlights probably against the Jeskai. I'm looking at things like Bioblight, quite good against Mantis Rider. Whip of Erebos, really good at getting life. And perhaps even End Hostilities, but that might not be a consideration depending on how many creatures the Jeskai deck has.
Yeah, we didn't see that many creatures out of it, so I imagine the End Hostilities will probably, stick to the board for now. But you can't really
It's
know.
A little bit slow. I mean, Bioblight is an excellent card. It
it's
definitely handles a lot of the creatures of Jeskai aggro deck.
Being able to kill Mantis Rider is a big deal. That card's very good.
Yep.
And looking at the deck list for the Jeskai warrior Robert Liu, we see a couple of Keranos Goddess Storms, which I imagine will come in here.
Definitely.
Along with some Disdainful Strokes, which are quite good here because they managed to get a mana advantage at the same time, trading with some of the more powerful spells out of the Abzan deck that claw them back into the game that they're generally losing until they cast them.
Does it count a Siege Rider?
It does count a Siege Rider.
I imagine it's coming in then.
I believe it says Disdainful Stroke, in brackets counter Siege Rhino.
Oh, 2-mana counter Siege Rhino. Yeah, I can see that
excellent.
being a appropriate card for the Jeskai deck to come in.
Very powerful.
Anger of the Gods, not so much.
Yeah, I think Aggro of the Gods it's more there for the aggro decks and the heroic decks to an extent, depending on the build, where you can actually nab a few guys with it. But
yeah, I can see some Manga Jets coming out, perhaps. It doesn't seem to do too much against the Abzan deck. It doesn't hit almost any creature, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not actually removal here.
No, it's just a bit of burn. It can fix up the mana if you're struggling, but that's not really something you can do.
Something interesting that we saw out of Rob Blue's deck in another round was that he's actually playing a bunch of Hushwing Griffins, and we have to be really quiet about the Hushwings.
I'm going to got to hush about the hush.
Hush about the hush.
Hush about the wing.
Because they do shut down Siege Rhino.
Really?
If this is indeed about Siege Rhino, they do a lot of work.
Well, matches we've seen about Siege Rhino when it's Jeskai versus Abzan, but here we see the opening hands coming up. And we do see that Keranos we were talking about.
Yeah, Keranos is a powerful spell, and
does look like a lot of land heavy hand.
You know,
on the other side we do
see
see a couple of Siege Rhinos. A card I hear is quite good.
Yeah, I've heard tell of this.
I really hate Siege Rhino, by the way.
Really? It's not coming through at all. So
yeah,
I'm surprised to hear.
I'm not gritting my teeth hard enough.
Yeah,
a couple of tap lands for both fix their mana pretty well. Temple again, fantastic.
Early flurry of do nothings.
I really love the mana in this and the whole format of just do nothing. We see an almost mirror match on the opposite sides.
Yeah.
Tri-land, Scry Bottom, and let's get to Magic.
And it looks like there is the rumored Hushwing Griff in Rob Blue's hand now.
Oh, that's coming off the top. We better be quiet about that one. And looks like you might be able to cast the Hushwing Griff.
A little bit of hush.
I really like Hushwing Griff in this.
It's a very powerful magic spell, and one of the sleepy hits of M15. It's obviously quite good.
I've picked up a few recently. I think they're very good.
Yeah, I had about 20 copies, and I'm down to 4 now because people keep trading
here it is, the Hushwing Griff. I believe we can talk about it at a almost bit audible level now. 2-1, nice, almost pseudo haste. It looks like he's holding up a burn spell, but actually it's just a 2-1 that shuts down Siege Rhino, which I'm pretty sure he's happy with.
Yeah, I think he'll take that on balance, and he obviously doesn't have the Bile Blight to deal with it.
I mean, a 4/5 trample for 4 is still pretty good, but it doesn't gain and drain, so...
Yeah, it's not as game-changing as it would have been otherwise.
Looks like a bit of consulting with his teammate, of course, this being a team unified standard, so collaboration is allowed if not encouraged.
Actively encouraged instead of, decurable.
Yes, and here the Drown in Sorrow, which is a bit of a surprise. I didn't think that would come in. I mean, I didn't see too many X2s in Game 1, but it's dealt with a Griff.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that he was working on a little bit of inside information and, knew that he had to play around that particular card. Otherwise, I would be a little bit surprised if that would have been the normal sideboard choice that you would make in this matchup.
Yeah, Jeskai aggro. I mean, it's probably here's another Hushwing Griff. Probably decided by Mantis Riders, not 2-1. So
yeah,
here it comes again. This guy doing a lot of work.
All right.
So it looks like the Abzan deck's a bit starved on mana. Here's a Keranos against 3 lands.
Really good way just rub in a lead.
Well, this whole match seems a bit like 1-for-1s. Both sides have removal. Both sides sort of activate on these sort of value creatures. So drawing extra cards or just dealing damage here and there definitely adds up.
Yeah, it certainly does. And Keranos, a famous god of the storms, it does exactly that.
Bit stormy. Here comes Brimaz, the king of Oreskos.
He is the king, the Lion King, if you will.
He is Simba, and is that's a nullify off the top? Bit late, doesn't top the old Brimaz.
No, I imagine that we'll see the Banishing Light get rid of that particular threat with some 3 damage going to the face there.
Yeah, not a bad way to bolt a fiend.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole 5 this turn, thanks to Hushwing. So hush. Yeah, really good card advantage by the Jeskai deck here so far, making use of its mana and
scrying well, and it's just working out.
Scry here with Keranos seems particularly absurd.
It seems quite good.
No lands, guess I'll get rid of that.
It's nice to insist on your free lightning bolt.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the free lightning bolt. And is that another copy of Drown of Sorrow in his hand?
It'd be interesting if it was.
It's actually Urborg, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, well, it looks like he's going to hit his 5th land drop, which is, very important here. If he's going to get back in this game, he's going to need to be able to cast multiple spells a turn.
Yeah, also importantly, if it is the Urborg, that means that Windswept Heath does not require taking a damage.
See, and it's also a crew fix, which would work quite well with that Windswept Heath, but I imagine it's going to get nullified here.
Yeah, it does have the nullify up. We have seen this, so I don't know if he's baiting a counter spell.
Well, he does know that he has it because it got revealed off the Keranos there. Yeah. So
it's going to buy the dust. That being said, with the Hushwing Griff, Siege Rhino is no longer as good as it could be, so I'm not sure if it was...
And Stoke the Flames. Oh my god, I
Ah.
can't believe it was on top of my deck.
Well, he didn't actually see the Stoke the Flames. He did bottom the
Oh, did he bottom the previous
yeah,
one?
but
I'm sorry.
7 damage off the top, not too bad for a draw.
Yeah.
Especially when your opponent's at 8.
Yeah.
Down to 6.
Down to 6, okay.
So I would say the next attack may be lethal. The Siren won't do anything.
Yeah,
See-
Karanos does provide a fairly hard lock when you're already ahead in the race.
Yeah, definitely pull things ahead.
Alright, so you follow up with another Courser of Kruphix.
You have to hope for a land off the top, but even still, it's pretty much game over, I'd say.
Well, there's a land off the top and then 2 Windswept Heaths to shuffle again next turn, but
We do need to see the top
we
card
do
of
need
that
to see
library.
the top card of that library, so if someone you could just speak up in the pitch match area. There we go.
And we have another Plains. Basically still at 7 though, if this next card 4, and he's just looking to reveal an online card, and that'll seal the deal, basically.
seal the deal.
Even so. And here we have Mantis Rider. That's 3 damage, and that'll
Triggers it,
stick up.
and that's game 2. So we're all tied up at 1-1 here in this, one of 3 matches in the finals of Good Games National Team Championship.
Yeah.
Presented by Sneak and Show.
It's been a really long day. The Hushwingers really pulled their weight there. It was quite impressive to see. Stop those Siege Rhinos really turning on and just allowed just to burn through really that Keranos just pulling ahead.
Yeah, the evasive source of damage also seems very important.
Certainly.
The ability to get over what's normally a better board position by the Abzan deck and actually get that damage through instead of getting brick roaded.
Yeah.
And we see James Fazzolari
lands in front.
Yeah, lands in front
Fazzolari.
of Wolfie Initiate. Casting a Ashwing
Ashcloud Phoenix.
Ashcloud Phoenix, my apologies.
That's quite alright.
On
4-1.
turn 3.
Yeah. Turn 3, not a bad little draw that one. 4-3, 4-1 flyer, sorry. Deals a bit of hurt.
Does deal a bit of hurt, and he comes back too.
You know what turns on Ferocious?
Is it a 4-power creature?
Yes, it is.
Is that 4-power creature Ashcloud Phoenix?
It is.
Excellent. I'm ferociously
Team
in
and
favour
Charm
of this.
destroying it, and Trigger.
So that's an effective way to deal with that in a 1-for-1 manner. Teemo Charm, one of the charms that we actually, I think saw the least excitement out of going into
To begin
the
with,
format.
yeah. And Sultide Charm had a fair bit of backing. That really hasn't come about, but Team and Charm has found its way as a 2 of, I believe.
A 2 of, and sometimes a 2 and 2,
Yeah.
with a 2 extra in the board. In the right amounts, a very effective spell, and something that I've actually found personally to be quite good.
I've never played with it, but I see Brian Kibler and the like sort of championing it and just playing in those Team Your Aggro decks. It just does quite a lot when you really think about it. Like the mana leak ability is quite good.
It's a little conditional because it generally requires you to be in a
All
fairly
3 modes are
commanding position to be
conditional,
good. But because it's got 3 modes, and every time we've seen conditional charms, they seem to be on a little bit more often than you'd expect.
Well, there's Team or the whole Ferocious ability. When you're ahead, you're really, really ahead.
Yeah, it's all about just rubbing it in.
Yeah, just rub it in. Get them rubs. Yeah, Rattleclaw Mystic. Just holding up 2 mana.
Yep. We'll see a response from James here, and it's starting to look like a Corsair.
Of course, sir.
Uh-huh.
Mountain off the top.
Mountain
That'll
off the top,
gain him a life.
a little bit of life gain, and
Here we see the incremental advantage provided by that. Nice
we'll
little
see one of
2/4.
the dangerous Court of Callings off the top of
Court of
James
Calling.
Fazzolari's deck.
And what sort of thing can Court of Calling fetch up?
Well, generally speaking, I think in this deck you can call for things such as Hornet's Nest and additional Stormbreath Dragons.
Is there a Hornet
when
Queen
4
as
is
well?
not enough. There is also a Hornet Queen.
I really want Hornet Queen in.
Yeah, you have the
For when the nest is not enough. But here is a Stormbreath Dragon.
yeah, and it's
I'm going to crash him for 4.
we're gonna go back to game 1 for the final game in this match, and
I'm going to have the Abzan deck on the play this time.
Abzan deck on the play with them tied up at 1-1.
On the play, it's a little bit advantageous, just because the Abzan deck has that ability to kind of skip ahead with the mana creatures.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a thing that we've seen a lot in any format where there's a good 2 mana spell to ramp with like Farseek in Days of Standards past. That when they're on the play, those decks are extraordinarily dangerous.
Yeah, they can just put the other deck in the back foot. And we've just seen a mull on the Jeskai side, I believe, down to 6 cards. And that further will just hinder their ability to get back in the game.
It's looking like that Rob Blue's contending with a 1-land hand there. And he'll probably have a look at the hand with his teammates and decide what the risk and reward is of keeping this hand.
He looks like he's decided to mull to 5. I definitely agree with this, especially because he's 1 land with a fetch.
Yeah.
Obviously, fetching 1 land out of a 6-card deck isn't too much, but it is slight percentage plays, and
let's be honest, if it was a temple, it would be a different decision.
in the temple, it's definitely because you have access to 2 colours. It gives you a scry, but these
Absolutely.
days a fetch isn't like modern where you can just get any sort of dual land.
Yeah, fetches, as they turn out, are actually, not that good in this format.
They're pretty good.
There's still dual lands that come into play untapped, but at the end of the day, they're not really like compared to things like Scrylands and Trilands and Painlands that are both colors for forever. There's really an argument to be made that that they're not the best lands in the format.
No, definitely not. I mean, obviously the ramifications is more for Eternal formats and just to help out there, but it's still important. It looks like the 5-card hand is actually pretty decent. A couple of lands in there. Disdainful Stroke, which is also quite important.
And we see a Nullify there, so possibly ways to keep
things locked down for a little bit.
Keep things locked down and keep Justin off, really just rubbing this.
Well, no turn 2 play is very good.
It is very good.
And look,
the lack of Caryatid is
encouraging.
Encouraging, yeah.
And we've got the Flutter Strand there to probably nullify this.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I would imagine an Island into Nullify would be the play here, and keeping that Brimaz off the board is very important because it would be a lot of aggressive advantage.
Yeah, very unanswered. That kitty definitely goes home.
Yeah, the kitty has claws.
He does, and many friends.
Yeah.
That's the Nullify.
Yeah, the Nullify and
really good 5 multi 5 here. I mean, the 3rd land still holding up Disdainful Stroke at this point. Counter the first few. His mana's pretty much good from now. He just needs a way to.
So even paying a life here from the Mana Confluence, and Seadrano just cops it.
Just cops it. Stroke, Disdainful. Go away.
Off. A little disrespect.
Another land. This is very good.
He's finding the cards that he needs to,
looks
stay
like
in
Liberation. Yeah.
I imagine that his route to victory is mostly on the shoulders of the Keranos that we see in his hand right now. So
yeah, if he can get a land next turn, he should pretty much get back into this. Like, definitely establish a foothold, as it were.
And here's, of course, a Crucifix to...
which is fine, no pressure. Siren is a bit of pressure potentially later on.
I wonder if we'll see the Corsair go to the top of the deck.
And...
that's what it looks like.
That's a really good play, I think.
Stuck on 4 lands here, and, it's basically... Well, what we as a Magic community tend to call a time walk.
Yeah, basically. So here we see a Stoke the Flames Throne, 2 Stoke the Flames in hand with the Keranos. He can answer the course this turn if he fancies.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we'll see from if we'll see the same play again or we'll see something conservative like a Sylvan Caryatid now that he knows he can't hit land.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's going to run
just
it back.
re-goes it. Wouldn't be surprised to see it end turn Stoke the Flames. Just keep the board clear. Stop that +1 on Thorin from really taking advantage.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And here we see
it's starting to look very interesting here.
It's the 5th land, but...
and that one's going straight to the bottom. I imagine that's a land, and he does not want any more than 5.
Definitely not. Without Keranos hopefully providing some card advantage. Down to 2. Holding on here.
I wonder if this is a follow-up Corsair or something similar.
It is a Corsair, and this is really good.
Hero's
Downfall.
Not going to do much on this board state.
Doesn't do touch against the old Keranos. Emptying his hand and then just putting that on an empty board.
Could not have slammed that down faster.
Oh, this is a game and a half. Here the Jeskai deck is mulled to 5, just battled its way back in, and now it's got a sort of reliable card advantage, barring something like a Banishing Line.
And it's also really required Justin to miss his consecutive land drops for a few turns here, and that was sort of helped by the Jeskai Charm.
That Jeskai Charm was very good.
It was very powerful, and
here we see a Sarkhan off the top, and that is big game.
It is big game.
Like to say.
We know there's a Hero's Downfall to deal with this, and not even bothering for it to reach his hand here. It's just going to go straight into play. And
from the library into play, swing in, and he will be able to hit him before this turn as that Caryatid is not yet active.
Yeah, so no mana being produced there, and the Hero's Downfall at least off his back for another turn, and it's starting to get really dangerous for Justin now. He's going to have to find a way to deal with his Sarkhan, because otherwise he'll lose to it, and all the while it's not presenting any pressure, and that Keranos is getting a continual advantage.
And he's passed the turn back. Obviously he can't play this. Oh no, he hasn't passed the turn back. The Siren probably won't come down this turn.
No, I imagine that Hero's Downfall's got to hit the Sarkhan here.
And that's just another turn for Keranos to do some things.
It is, but sometimes you're forced into bad spots, I guess, and this seems to be one of them. And this Multi 5's been really good.
Really good. Here's a Stoke the Flames for an extra 3, and that holds off the Zoran next turn. Doesn't matter if he goes up or down. That Zoran is going home.
Yeah.
And then Keranos can probably mop up the token if that's the play he makes, but... Who knows what he could... Looks like a Bar of Blight, Drowning Sorrow. These things are not effective against the card advantage engine.
I think we're starting to see that the Drowning Sorrow is a little bit punishing here. That's not the most effective spell.
And he's going down on this one. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a Stoke on Siren himself, just to just to mop it up.
The man himself, and
here's
see the land, which is a card drawn for free off Keranos.
Where's that Stoke gone?
Ah, it's gone straight to the face.
Straight to the top. Oh, his opponent's on 2, I see.
Down to 2 life, and here we have him setting up the next draw. Obviously, a land on top here, and
it would not surprise me to see that mull to 5,
end hostilities.
Especially with that end hostilities. That Keranos has just been instrumental in.
I think that end hostilities was a really necessary play to stop the Sorin gaining 3 life from the attack from the vampire token there.
Certainly. Just leaves that Keranos being basically a death knell if it flips over a non-land permanent.
Absolutely.
No Siege Rhino here to bring you up to 5.
Alright, what do we have? Courser of Griffix is the way to gain some life.
Although it could only get him up to 3, which it will.
Up to 3, so currently in a situation where Keranos hitting a non-land card on top of Rob Blue's library is going to be lethal.
This is top deck central, and let's see, here we go, and here we are, and that is the game.
And that's the game. Rob Blue takes it in 3.
That was a exceptional play by the Jeskai deck. Really kept the right sort of hand, played to his outs.
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of excellent play from Rob Blue with this deck all weekend, and it's it's really making me reconsider the deck as a whole.
Oh, definitely. Just the addition of Keranos on the board, like it helps against this Abaddon deck, which is all about grinding out the game, and just something that draws cards, deals damage.
Alright, and it seems that we have some results from the middle table. Justin Chong has won his match 2-0, so we'd like to congratulate Team 2.5 Men for taking down this whole thing.
That's fantastic. That's the Australian team representing us in the WMCQ.
Team,
so really good match from them.
So I don't know if we're going to see anything from these
Looks
guys.
Looks like James Fazzolari is packing up.
They're all packing up, and congratulations to those guys. That's
really
Rob Blue has joined Justin Chong and James Fazzolari of the Australian national team, and you know what? We'll see them in a couple of weeks in Nice, and hopefully they do just as well. Yeah,
definitely. So really well played by a lot of players. We've had 7 rounds before a top 8 today.
Yep, top 4.
Top 4, sorry.
Yep.
And a Pro Tour qualifier yesterday. So a lot of Magic played over the weekend, and really ended quite well with that. Mull to 5 into a Keranos.
Mull to 5 into Keranos, taking it home.
Couldn't think of anything better, to be honest.
I would like to personally thank my wonderful co-host, Russell Cutting, all the way from South Australia this weekend. And we'd love to thank GG's for having us.
Definitely.
And, a big shout out to the Sneak and Show, and particularly Marco Sayers of Sneak and Show for putting all this tech together and letting us host such a wonderful coverage.
Really fantastic coverage. And of course, as always, that saying, the judges.
Always
working hard.
Other judges which also have names.
Yeah. Who we don't know.
No,
but that's okay. So we're going to go and roll some dice now.
And maybe Russ will even win his shirt back.
No, you're not getting it back. It's mine now.
Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one.
Yeah, see you later.